Are you absolutely tired of bumming rides and finally ready to claim your independence on the open road? Well, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're mapping out the ultimate step-by-step roadmap to conquering the Tennessee DMV and getting that Class PD learner's permit completely headache-free.
I mean, you're probably itching to experience that totally new level of freedom, right? And hey, that excitement is completely valid. But before you can actually grab those keys and go, there's a very real, honestly pretty strict set of legal hoops that the state of Tennessee requires you to jump through first. So let's make sure we get it right on the very first try.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our exact roadmap for today. First up, eligibility and documents. Then, preparing for the exam. After that, application and the written test. Then we'll cover permit rules and restrictions, followed by common pitfalls and FAQs, and we'll wrap it up with our conclusion and final tips.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Eligibility and Required Documents. These are your absolute first steps.
So Tennessee uses what's called a Graduated Driver License, or GDL framework. It's basically a system to introduce teens to driving step by step. Right at age 15, you kick things off with the Class PD learner permit. Then, at 16, assuming you've hit all your milestones, you can level up to the Intermediate Restricted License. By 17, you hit the Intermediate Unrestricted License. It's really all about gaining real-world experience incrementally before they hand over those full, totally unrestricted privileges at age 18.
Okay, grab a pen because this is your exact packing list for the DMV, and it's a big one. You're going to need a primary and a secondary ID, proof of citizenship or legal presence, your social security number, and 2 proofs of Tennessee residency. And those residency proofs, they have to be dated within the last 4 months. Now, if you're under 18, you'll also need a teenage affidavit and Form SF-1010, which is just proof of school attendance. But listen carefully right now because we do not want you getting turned away at the counter. Photocopies are never accepted. 0 exceptions. You literally have to bring the originals. Oh, and that Form SF-1010, it expires exactly 30 days after your school signs it, like to the day. So you really have to time your DMV trip perfectly.
Moving right along to Section 2, Preparing for the Exam. You've got to study hard to pass this thing. Now, what's really interesting about this is how straightforward the state's official advice actually is. First and foremost, you absolutely must study the Tennessee Comprehensive Driver License Manual. I mean, that thing is your ultimate Bible for this test. Secondly, do yourself a massive favor and take advantage of the online practice tests available right on the state's e-services portal. You want to get super comfortable with the format before you're sitting in the hot seat because, knowing the material is one thing, but knowing exactly how to take the test is a whole different ballgame.
Next up, Section 3, Application and the Written Test. It's time to tackle that knowledge exam.
So when it comes to actually taking the test, you actually have 2 main paths. You could go the traditional route with in-person testing at a driver services center. If you do that, definitely schedule an appointment online beforehand to save yourself hours of waiting. Or, and this is a real game changer, if you're between 15 and 17 years old, you have this highly convenient online option. A parent or guardian can actually act as your proctor right from your living room using the state's secure Tennessee Proctor ID app. It's pretty cool. They just download the app, it verifies their identity against state records, and boom, you can take the test right there on your home computer.
So, the crucial point here is the magic number, 24. Regardless of whether you take it at home or the DMV, the exam is 30 multiple-choice questions, you've got a 60-minute time limit, and you must answer exactly 24 questions correctly to hit that 80% passing score. Oh, and here's the kicker. The test uses what's called an automated termination format. That basically means if you miss your 7th question, the screen goes blank and the test ends immediately. You're done. So literally every single question counts.
Once you pass, and we know you will, you'll need to pay the fee. For the under 18 Class PD learner permit, your total cost is exactly $10.50. It's actually a pretty good deal. It breaks down into a $3.50 base card cost, a $2 application fee, and a mandatory $5 GDL surcharge. Super affordable. Just keep in mind they take cash, check, money orders, or major credit cards, so be ready with one of those.
All right, moving to Section 4, Permit Rules and Restrictions. Let's talk about those strict boundaries.
Once you have that permit in hand, these are your absolute non-negotiables. First up, you must always, and I mean always, have a licensed driver who is at least 21 years old sitting right there in the front passenger seat. Second, driving is strictly prohibited during the high-risk nighttime hours, meaning between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. you are off the road. Third, safety belts are absolutely mandatory for every single person in the vehicle. No excuses.
And finally, there is a zero-tolerance policy for any mobile device usage while driving. Literally no calls, no texts, absolutely no exceptions.
And this brilliantly illustrates your most crucial post-test requirement, the SF-1256 driving experience log. See, before you can graduate to that intermediate restricted license at age 16, you have to hold your permit for at least 180 days. During that time, you've got to log a minimum of 50 hours of supervised behind-the-wheel driving. And this is key. At least 10 of those 50 hours have to be driving at night. This log is literally the map of your real-world experience, and it has to be officially signed off by your parent, guardian, or driving instructor.
Let's move to Section 5, Common Pitfalls and FAQs, and see how this builds into real-world consequences, so you can avoid these major mistakes.
Understanding the why behind these rules is absolutely vital because, trust me, the state does not mess around when it comes to safety. Let's say you're caught using a cell phone while driving on your permit. That is a Class C misdemeanor. You'll get hit with a $50 fine, 6 points slapped right on your driving record, and a painful 90-day delay in getting your next license. Ouch. Another huge pitfall, violating the move over law. If you fail to yield to stationary emergency or maintenance vehicles on the shoulder, you could be staring down a massive $500 fine. So pay attention out there because these penalties carry some serious, real-world weight. And finally, Section 6, Conclusion and Final Tips. Let's wrap this up so you can get started.
Just as a quick professional reminder before we go, state laws, requirements, and those fees we talked about, they are always subject to change. So while this explainer gives you a really comprehensive overview based on the current regulations, you should always verify the final details directly on the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security website right before you head out to the DMV. Better safe than sorry, right?
So the road is waiting and the exact steps to get there are clearly laid out for you. But the real question is, once you finally have that Class PD permit in your hand, are you truly ready for the immense responsibility of the wheel? It's a big deal. So take your preparation seriously, hit the books hard, stay safe out there on the roads, and we will see you next time.